Mr. Speaker, therefore, let me now go to the answers that questions that have been asked. I agree with Honorable Koech, the question of capture of this sector. Honorable Koech, the good thing is that I don't come from this sector per se. I am an outsider. So I'm not conflicted. I've never been a road contractor. I have never worked in most of the sectors. So I tell them that when I arrive, Mr. Speaker, there is a new sheriff in town if I'm approved, and that we'll do things the right way. Number two, you talked about local contractors, and somebody else also raised that issue down here. We'll make sure that the policy that was put in place that all contracts below 1 billion shall go to local contractors is strictly implemented, because we cannot continue growing foreign contractors and we punish our own contractors. And we will go up to the company's registry to lift the veil so that you don't become a foreigner, a local company, and say I'm a local company. Yeah, we'll make sure that its company is owned by citizens, so that we achieve the intention that only companies that will get the below 1 billion will go to citizens. Let's put it that way, so that we can be able to grow our own citizens. The roads, Honorable Caleb, you are my neighbor. I live in your county, and the point is no position. If you know Murkomen well, I work with everybody. And the government of Kenya, promised by the president also, is that we are not going to develop this country based on whom we know and where someone comes from. If you want me to, soon after approval, to go with you to see the roads, we will go there, and then I will work on the plans. Of course, we don't want to make roadside declarations of just standing there and saying, barabara kutoka hapa up to there, we will construct. I will be coming there when we have information and plans on how we will be able to do those roads. And I invite not just you. Honorable Raso doesn't have roads inside his constituency. Many roads in the northeastern part of the country are marginalized, not to mention also in many parts of the north, every part of the country actually has a place. Honorable Raso talks about I know, Honorable Caleb, I know you said you tried so hard to be part of government, but if you ask me, you were part of government for the last 5 years. So it doesn't help. Even being part of government does not help. Yeah, if the principle is marginalization, it is just marginalization. So we must make sure that we do that. Honorable Raso, I am very much aware, anyone who is a scholar on areas of devolution must always start from sessional paper number 10 of 1965. And I know the marginalization that came in. That's why LAPSET and other projects were put in place to remove this idea of establishing other areas as low potential areas. Public participation, we will ensure that in the final implementation we do that, and we work with you, and I agree with you entirely. Even in a few briefs I've seen is that you find in one corner a road per kilometer is 80 million, in another place 40 million. We must have standard roads that can be counted. Honorable Shuria, yes, I agree, the road is ongoing, and we want to have the conversation with the contractor first, so that we have a plan of Lamu to Isiolo. It's my hope that it is tarmacked, not just Mara, so that it can attract the investments that we want to have. Continuous maintenance is the same issue that you've said. We must be able to do that, and we must ring fence the resources for that. Honorable Emase, yes, I will come to see, and I will first establish the dwelling of that road, whether it is true, and quality of the roads. You are very right, not just in your county, also in my county. I know roads that were constructed, and in less than 5 years they have potholes, and there is no any maintenance. This is a thing that should be a thing of the past. On the question of non-motorized transport system, I want to say this. Just another statistic, Mr. Speaker. Nairobi, a half of Nairobians walk. Yet the budget for non-motorized transport is 2%. We don't have walking paths, and we don't have cycling paths. In fact, many pedestrians are hit while walking. And this country, we lose, by the way, we lose 1,300. We've already lost 1,000 motorists, pedestrians. That is the area that produces the best athletes in the country, some of the best athletes in the country. But they don't have even a running track for training. Those of you who follow sports, you know in 2021, my friend Jobri Kamaror was preparing for Olympics, and he was ready to win as a gold of 10,000. Hit by a motorbike on the right side of the... We transport, because it's the height of traffic in the country. We must make sure that it is a mandatory for every contractor, and the bill of quantities that's going to be presented should include cycling parts and walking parts, Mr. Speaker, and severe punishment. If you find the violators into a... Mr. Speaker, we must put severe punishment, that we must deal with that issue. The airport, know that there was supposed to be an airport somewhere in Naivasha town, which has been choked by buildings. If you ever fly in Naivasha, you will see something like there was a runway of some sort, but there is no. The runway has been, the land has been grabbed. The first thing we need to do is to, before even we construct every airstrip in every county, we must restore first and safeguard the properties of the KA across the country. And I will work with you and other Kenyans to ensure that. Of course, I will still be training with you at Nyayo Stadium. I don't know if I will play for Bunge FC. Learners, yes. I thought there was a question on
the equipment, road equipment.
Yes. Again, even where, that's a good question, supplementing what Honorable Koech said, even where we have ring-fenced contracts below 1 billion to local contractors, we must go ahead and say the contracts above 1 billion, 4, 5, 10 billion must have a component of local contractors who are making their contribution to be subcontracted. On the bus rapid transport, my friend Honorable Mule, I can assure you that I am aware about it. There are a few issues. There are financial issues, actually. The company still requires a certain amount of money, almost 2 billion, to complete the infrastructure, and then the leasing of the buses. We will work together to see that that is achieved. In fact, that's not the only thing. We must make sure that Namata is empowered to coordinate road transport in the metropolitan area by having commuter rail working and the buses working. And we will work with private investors, because as you can see now, we don't have the money to be able to construct the roads ourselves and the railway. I don't think it is true that Tala or Donyo Sabuk is annuity. We need to confirm, because the annuity programs that are ongoing, as I inquired, was only the one that is going to from Loitoktok down to Taita Taveta, and the one that is in Samata, Modokash. But if that be the case, no, let me put qualification. If that be the case, you know, you've already declared you are my friend. Apart from your right to come and see the cabinet secretary, if I am approved, we can also sit down, me and you, to see the details of that fact. But let me assure you this, even if we are not going to continue with annuity programs, it does not mean that we will cancel haphazardly existing contracts. We will lay as penalties. So already continue, although if it was almost being awarded, to be awarded the same contractors but through conventional means, to save us, because if we continue this way, in the year 2027, and Honorable Kimani knows this because he was on the budget committee, by 2027, we may not have money in the road maintenance levy to finance more roads or maintain roads. Annuity program, 2-3 people, contractors, will have taken the entire money. Just keep it in your mind that we did 91 kilometers in using 28. The last thing is Honorable Junet. I think I mentioned Ports Authority. Mr. Chair, you know, Mr. Chair, I cannot jeopardize my own approval. So I have to look I have to look for a more friendly language to say this. But Mr. Speaker, the Port of Mombasa has already started processes of dealing with, the story of MV Uhuru and the transport of goods from the Port of Mombasa. Later, even outside this committee, we'll discuss matters of the railway going to Kisumu to ensure that we spur Kisumu as a regional hub for matters of transport. I talked about Kendu Bay, Homa Bay, and all those local transport by the Kenya Ports Authority.
Murkomen, I'll ask you two questions. Number one, you've talked about everything except discipline on our roads. Michuki restored sanity on our roads in less than 2 months. Everybody was obeying traffic signs, everybody was orderly, everybody was respectful. What are you going to do about that? Number two, road signage everywhere in this country is vandalized. You put road signage, you put embankments, they're all vandalized within no time. Can you consider looking for materials for signage and embankment that are not vulnerable to scrap metal dealers, because they're the ones who keep vandalizing these materials? And many accidents are caused because of lack of signage and embankment. And lastly, the point Koech raised. You have to bring some affirmative action to local contractors. A local contractor competing with a foreigner is allowed to bring in construction equipment duty-free, is given a maram pit to mine maram for free, is given a quarry to quarry materials for free, and is exempted sometimes from even VAT. And those foreigners are supposed to compete with local contractors for the same jobs. The local contractors go to the local bank, borrow money, buy trucks, pay duty on them, hire maram pits, pay for them, look for quarries, pay for them. How can they compete? What affirmative action do you have for local contractors?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the Michuki rules, listening to Professor Kindiki, my friend, and my teacher yesterday, I think we will have more collaboration between the Interior Ministry and our Transport Ministry, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, the first thing, if you heard me right, we want to deploy the transport integrated management system, which otherwise also labeled by Kenya Urban Roads as intelligent transport system. Okay, Mr. Speaker, if we deploy that technology, we don't need to do the analog way of Michuki. We don't need to see policemen running, people, driving. We just tell you, continue your bad manners. Then we benefit from it. If we continue punishing you, punishing you today, punishing you tomorrow, punishing you the next day, that will be a deterrent, Mr. Speaker. And I believe that the resources that we get from these people can now be deployed to doing the road signage, supporting our traffic police, which is underfunded, ensuring that we have more e-technology expanded in the rest of the country. So I am going to come back to National Assembly and Parliament for that reason with a clear proposal on how to roll out the integrated transport system in the city of Nairobi to start with. And if we put these cameras in all corners, Mr. Speaker, we will make sure that we will catch all the offenders, Mr. Speaker, and take advantage of their bad manners to build this nation. And I am sure in less than 2 or 3 years, there will be deterrent. So I will be working in silence, Mr. Speaker, because the times require one to work in silence. There was a time of Michuki, you had to shout. But this time round, Mr. Speaker, with technology, you don't need to shout. You just make sure that you catch your offender, you send the bill to him, you make his insurance extremely expensive, In fact, if you continue being a serial offender, it will reach a stage where you will abandon your car because the insurance is more expensive than the car itself. And I think that will be a deterrent. I have told, and this is something we'll work together with other departments. On the affirmative action, part of the affirmative action is to ensure below 1 billion goes to Kenyan citizens. Already that will ensure that they are being paid. The other thing is to ensure that you prioritize Kenyan citizens when we are paying the pending bills. Because again, they are the ones being auctioned. The people are committing suicide. People are, families are breaking up because of pending bills. We'll ensure that we start with them to make sure that their pending bills are paid. On the issue of material, it is true. When the government declared a ban on sale of scrap metal, there was a lull for some time. In fact, the Kenya Railway people told me that at least their metallic scrap metals were safe. But as soon as that was lifted, we face also another challenge. And Mr. Speaker, I will invite professors in university and inventors, Mr. Speaker, and Kenyans who are watching me, young Kenyans who are watching me from across the country, should think about this as one way of inventing something that they can be able to make a living and protect our roads with proper road signage without really being stolen by scrap metal. Although if we deploy the cameras very well, with continuous active e-police in the command center, we'll be able to identify directly, Mr. Speaker, with clarity that it is so and so who is coming, it's this time of the hour, and possibly, like the way we've deterred a lot of crime because of the cameras in Nairobi City, this can be also one of the solutions to make sure that people are not vandalizing our road signage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Your last 3 minutes, tell us your wish.
Mr. Speaker, my first wish is to say, let me say this, that I hope the committee will find it in its entire wisdom, collectively and individually, right to approve me to this docket. I have been a member of parliament. I understand the issues that affect the citizens of Kenya. I am available and ready to interact with colleagues and to interact with the people of Kenya in every part of this country and solve problems that the people of Kenya are facing without really waiting, Mr. Speaker, to be visited in my office. My office will make sure that it's devolved as per the expectations of the Constitution and reach out to all parts of the country. I will apply principles of equity, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that marginalized areas and areas left behind are carried along. And you know that, Mr. Speaker, because when we were in Senate, you saw my efforts to protect the counties, the marginalized counties in the county allocation revenue formula, even when their members of parliament were not ready to protect themselves. And so, Mr. Speaker, I will go out of my way to do my job diligently. And I hope after my tour of duty in this position, if approved, Mr. Speaker, is over, Kenyans will look back and say there lived a more serious, more committed public servant who was willing compassionately to solve problems that are bedeviling the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the time you gave me. I think this is the beginning of our interaction. I hope in the future we will be able to have more interaction with members of parliament as a representative of the people, members, council of governors, and other entities that work on matters roads to make sure that we solve the problems that are bedeviling our transport and infrastructure docket. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the appointing authority, and thank, without forgetting, Mr. Speaker, and more